The heavy oak door of the penthouse office muffled the sounds from within, but not completely. A sharp crack followed by a woman's stifled cry made Darius Cole stop his cleaning cart dead in the hallway. He stood perfectly still, every muscle coiled, his dark eyes fixed on the door. He was just a janitor, a ghost paid to clean up after the powerful, but the man he used to be was screaming at him. Before he could decide what to do, the door was pulled open just enough for a small body to slip through. A little girl, no older than 7, with 2 puffs secured by bright pink barrettes, stumbled into the hall, her chest heaving with silent sobs. She saw him standing there and ran. She grabbed the fabric of his work pants with 2 small, trembling hands, looked up at him with wide, desperate brown eyes, and delivered the words that ended his quiet life forever. "They beat my mom. She's dying." The words hit Darius with the force of a shockwave. In that instant, 5 years of practiced invisibility evaporated. The janitor was gone. The ranger was back. "Stay behind me," he said, his voice a low, steady rumble. He guided her behind his cleaning cart and pushed the penthouse door inward. The scene inside was a collision of luxury and brutality. 4 large men in dark suits were cornering a woman, Selena Ward. Darius recognized her from the corporate photos, a striking black woman with natural hair, one of the youngest CEOs in the industry. She was on her feet, but barely. A nasty cut bled freely above her eye, and her lip was split. She fought with the ferocity of a cornered lioness, but she was exhausted, and her attackers were closing in. Darius moved without a sound. The first man never saw him coming. Darius's hand shot out, twisting the man's wrist until it snapped. He used the man's momentum to spin him around and drove him face first into the wall. The other 3 turned, shocked. A janitor. Their confusion was all the opening Darius needed. He surged forward. The second man swung a punch. Darius sidestepped it, his hand chopping down on the man's collarbone. The bone gave way with a sickening crack. The third attacker pulled a weighted sap from his jacket, but he was too slow. Darius swept the man's legs out and delivered a precise strike to the side of his neck. The man's eyes rolled back. The last man backed away, reaching inside his jacket. Darius was already on him. He grabbed the man's arm and slammed his palm up under the man's nose. The cartilage crunched. Darius hooked his leg behind the man's and drove him backward over a leather sofa. Silence descended, broken only by Selena Ward's ragged breathing. She stared at Darius, wide-eyed, before her knees buckled. Darius caught her before she hit the floor. He swept her into his arms and carried her to the sofa, his combat training shifting from offense to triage. "My daughter," Selena rasped. "She's safe," Darius said, checking her pulse. It was thready, too fast. Her pupils were unequal, a clear sign of concussion. "Can you tell me your name?" "Selena Ward." "Good, Selena. You have a serious concussion. I need to get you out of here." He saw the discarded cord on the floor, the methodical bruises. This was a professional, targeted assault. Calling security or 911 was a gamble he couldn't take. The people who sent these men would have eyes everywhere. He walked to the office entrance. Nova was peeking around the edge of the cleaning cart, her small face streaked with tears, her brown skin glistening. He knelt down. "It's okay now," he said softly. "Those men can't hurt your mom anymore. But we have to be very quiet. Can you do that for me?" Nova nodded, fragile trust forming in her eyes. He returned to Selena. "I'm getting you out of here." "Where?" she whispered. "Someplace safe." He slid his arms beneath her and lifted. 5 years he had worked to leave this world of violence behind, and in 5 minutes it was all undone. Nova followed, clutching the back of his gray work pants. His knowledge of this building wasn't of boardrooms, but of service elevators, forgotten stairwells, and labyrinthine corridors. He would take them to the only place he knew was secure. He would take them home. The service elevator wheezed down to the sub-basement. Darius moved through the maze of corridors. his janitor's keycard granting access through locked maintenance doors. They paused once, flattening into a dark alcove as a security guard's radio crackled nearby. Finally, a heavy steel door led them out into the chilled night air. Darius's old pickup truck was parked in its employee spot. He gently placed Selena in the passenger seat, buckling her in carefully before lifting Nova onto the bench beside her. The drive from the financial district to his working-class neighborhood was a journey across worlds. Darius's apartment was on the third floor of a modest walk-up. He balanced Selena in one arm while fumbling for his keys, Nova and the weight of the world on his shoulders. His 9-year-old daughter, Imani, was sitting on the floor showing a picture book to Ms. Tilda, their elderly babysitter. Both looked up as he entered, shock registering on their faces. Imani's eyes, so much like her father's, grew wide. "Darius? My heavens, what happened?" Ms. Tilda exclaimed, her silver locks swaying. "There was an accident at work," Darius said calmly. He carried Selena to his bedroom. "She needs help." Imani crept to the doorway, her hand instinctively going to one of her long braids. "Daddy, is she okay?" Darius knelt before his daughter. "She's hurt, sweetie, but she's going to be okay. I need you to be a big girl for me. Can you do that?" Imani nodded solemnly. "This is Nova," he said, guiding the other girl forward. "She's very scared. I need you to help me look after her." Imani's gaze softened. She gave Nova a small smile and held out her hand. "Hi, Nova. I'm Imani. Do you want to see my drawings?" Nova hesitated, then took Imani's hand. Darius turned to Ms. Tilda, pressing twice her usual payment into her hand. "Thank you for staying late. I'm sorry to rush you out. But Darius, should we call an ambulance?" "No," he said firmly. "I have some training. A hospital is the last thing she needs right now. Please, Ms. Tilda, I need you to go home and not mention this to anyone." Ms. Tilda had known him since Imani was a toddler. She trusted him. She gave a reluctant nod. "All right, dear." After she left, Darius locked the door. He retrieved a professional-grade medical kit from his closet and worked under the bedside lamp, cleaning and dressing Selena's wounds. He was absorbed in his work when Selena's eyelids fluttered open. Panic seized her. She tried to push herself up. Darius's hands came up, pacifying. "Easy. You're safe. Just lie still." "Where am I?" she whispered. "Who are you?" "My name is Darius Cole. I work at your building in maintenance. Your daughter, she came and got me." The memory crashed back. The office, the men, the brutal pain. Nova's scream. "Nova," she gasped. "Where is my daughter?" "She's right here. She's safe. Imani, can you bring Nova in here?" A moment later, 2 small figures appeared. Imani, with her father's serious eyes and 2 long braids, stood in front, holding Nova's hand. Nova's eyes lit up when she saw her mother. "Mommy!" "Oh, baby," Selena breathed, reaching out to brush Nova's hair back. She looked from her daughter to the man by the bed. Darius Cole, the janitor, a tall black man in a gray uniform, someone she'd never given a second thought. Now the memory of him moving through her office clashed with the image of the quiet father in this humble apartment. "You saved us," she said. "I did what anyone would have," he deflected. "No, they don't. Why didn't you call the police?" "Because the men who attacked you were professionals. People like that don't work for someone who can't control the aftermath. Calling 911 would have been like sending up a flare. This way, you just vanished." For the first time since waking, Selena truly looked at her surroundings. She saw the worn but clean furniture, the framed photo of a beautiful black woman with a radiant smile. This was a home, a sanctuary. "I need to make a call. My head of security, my lawyer." "Your phone was smashed," Darius interrupted gently. "And even if it wasn't, using it would be the first thing they'd track. For now, you're a ghost. It's the only thing keeping you and your daughter safe." He returned with water and pills. For the pain. You have a severe concussion and badly bruised ribs. You need to rest. She lay back, exhausted. Her mind raced, trying to piece together the events. There was only one person with the resources and ruthlessness to order an attack like that. Cassian Rourke, she whispered, the name tasting like poison. Darius gave a single, slow nod. He won't stop. He will hunt me down. Let him hunt, Darius said, his voice a steady anchor. He's looking for a CEO. He won't think to look for her in a janitor's apartment. Selena awoke to the smell of coffee and bacon. After changing into clothes Darius had left for her, she followed the sounds into the living room. Darius stood at the stove, his dark skin catching the morning light. At the table, Imani was patiently showing Nova how to draw. Good morning, Darius said without turning. There's coffee. How are you feeling? He asked, bringing pancakes to the table. Like I was hit by a truck. But better. Thank you. After they ate, Selena finally asked, You said you had some training. What you did last night. Who are you? Darius took a slow sip of coffee. A long time ago, I was an army ranger, a combat medic. I spent 10 years in places most people only see on the news. What happened? Why are you... My wife, Mira, she got sick, he said, his eyes flicking to the photo. Cancer. After she passed, the old job didn't make sense anymore. Imani needed a father, not a ghost. So I chose this. It's quiet. It pays the bills. And I'm here to pick her up from school every day. That's all that matters. His declaration struck a chord deep within Selena. Her own life was a whirlwind of meetings and flights. She had an entire staff to manage Nova's life because she was so rarely present. She told him about Cassian Rourke, about his relentless pursuit and absolute refusal to take no for an answer. After breakfast, Darius turned on the television. 20 minutes in, a news anchor reported an incident at the Ward Industries Tower attributed to an electrical fault. Selena felt a chill. Cassian was already rewriting history. The landline phone jangled. Darius picked up the receiver. Hello? A brief pause, then a smooth, cold voice. Is a Mr. Henderson there? No, you have the wrong number. The line went dead. Darius walked to the window, peering through the blinds. Across the street, a black sedan was parked. 2 men sat inside. They were watching. They found us, Selena stated. They found the janitor, Darius corrected. They have no idea who they're dealing with. He looked at their daughters. Pack a bag. We're leaving. Darius moved with urgent efficiency. While they packed, he ordered pizzas to his address, a diversion. The men would watch the front entrance. They wouldn't be looking at the rusty fire escape. From a locked footlocker, he pulled his go bag, essentials he hadn't needed in 5 years but never discarded. Time to go. The apartment's back window led to the fire escape overlooking a dingy alleyway. Nova whimpered at the sight. I can't, she whispered. Selena knelt. Yes, you can, sweetie. It's a game, a secret mission. Darius was already on the platform. He held his arms out for Nova. I've got you. I will not let you fall. After hesitation, Nova let her mother guide her into Darius's arms. When Selena's foot slipped on wet metal, Darius's hand was instantly there, steadying her. For a heartbeat, their eyes met. A shared moment of fear, trust, and reliance. They reached the bottom as the pizza delivery guy buzzed the front door. Perfect distraction. Darius led them through back alleys he knew well. An hour later, they stood before a locked garage. Darius keyed in a code. The door rumbled open, revealing a powerful motorcycle with a sidecar. It's not ideal, but it's not registered to me. The ride was cold and loud. Selena sat behind him, her arms wrapped around his waist. They drove for 2 hours into the dark, pine-covered mountains. Finally, they stopped before a small, rustic cabin. Mira's grandfather built this place, Darius explained. We used to come up here to get away from everything. Inside was one large room with a stone fireplace, a small kitchen, and a sleeping loft. The girls fell asleep almost instantly in the loft. Selena stood by the window, looking out at the impenetrable wall of trees. Darius came to stand beside her. We can't run forever, Darius. What do we do now? First, we make sure we're secure. He spent the next hour checking locks, walking the perimeter. He was no longer a janitor. He was a protector surveying his territory. Now your turn, he said. Tell me about Cassian Rourke, not the businessman, the man. What are his weaknesses? He's a narcissist, Selena explained. His public image is everything to him. So the one thing he can't afford is a public scandal, Darius concluded. If I could prove what he did, I could ruin him, but it's my word against his. They needed an ally. Eldon Pierce, Selena said suddenly. He was my father's lawyer. He's retired now, 75, sharp as a razor. If there's one person I can trust, it's him. Darius produced a burner phone. This is our one shot. We make the call. Keep it under 30 seconds. Then this phone becomes a paperweight. Selena's gaze fell on the mantelpiece photo, a younger Darius with a beautiful black woman with locks and a warm smile. Imani, a toddler, sat on his shoulders. Your wife? Darius glanced at the photo, his face softening. That's Mira. We were hiking near here. She's beautiful. She was, he said simply, the finality holding a universe of pain. She must have swayed, dizziness from her concussion. Darius was instantly at her side, guiding her to the rocking chair. You need to rest, Selena. He knelt before her. You're no good to Nova if you collapse. His gaze was intense. For the first time, she saw something beyond the soldier and father. She saw the man, a man who understood loss and was fighting to prevent another one. His hand on her arm was a point of solid warmth. They made the call. Darius dialed. It rang 3 times. Pierce. Eldon, it's Selena. Sharp intake of breath. Selena. Good God, the news said you've taken a leave. I knew it was a lie. Are you all right? I'm safe for now. Listen. It was Cassian Rourke. He sent men. I have Nova with me and we're in hiding. I need your help. Start digging, quietly. His import records, holding companies, anything that doesn't look right. He's hiding something, Eldon. Find it. Consider it done. Where are you? You can't know yet. Don't try to find me. I'll contact you in 2 days. Same time. Be careful. Darius ended the call, snapped the SIM card in half, broke the phone over his knee, and tossed it into the fire. A fragile victory settled in the room. They had started to fight back. Selena looked at Darius, firelight flickering across his face. Thank you. He simply nodded. But as the phone disappeared into the flames, a low, rhythmic sound began to break the silence. Thump, 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 thump. Darius was on his feet instantly, his gaze snapping to the window. The sound was unmistakable. A helicopter flying low and fast through the mountains, and it was heading their way. Kill the fire, Darius snapped. He grabbed water and upended it over the flames. The fire hissed, plunging the room into darkness. Selena, get the girls. Center of the room, away from windows. Selena flew up the ladder and gathered both terrified children, guiding them down. What's happening? Imani whispered. It's a loud airplane, sweetie. It will be gone soon. Selena lied. Darius pulled the curtains shut. The helicopter was nearly on top of them, the thumping deafening. Then a brilliant white searchlight cut through the night, slicing through the treetops. Darius pulled them all down, covering the girls' heads with his body. Selena huddled beside them, her arm over Nova. The beam swept past the cabin, momentarily illuminating a gap in the curtains before moving on. For an eternity, the helicopter circled. Then, slowly, the sound receded. They stayed motionless until the helicopter was a distant pulse. Are they gone? Imani whispered. Darius didn't move for a full minute. Finally, he relaxed slightly. For now. The phone call, Selena breathed, guilt crushing her. He traced it. I'm so sorry. Stop, he said firmly but kindly. We knew it was a risk. It was a move we had to make. Together, they got the girls settled in the loft. Darius told them a quiet story about a clever fox who outsmarted wolves. Selena watched him, her heart aching with gratitude and admiration. When they were asleep, he came back down. I was so scared, Selena admitted. When that light came through, all I could think about was Nova. I know, he said, his voice laced with understanding. It's the only thing that matters. He looked toward the loft. It's the only thing that's ever mattered. In the vulnerable silence, the space between them shrank. They were no longer CEO and janitor. They were two parents bound by the fierce need to protect their children. We have to move. We can't stay here. No. That helicopter was a scout. The ground team will be next. Darius was about to answer when his head snapped toward the window. He held up a hand. Then she heard it too, the crunch of tires on gravel, a low engine growing closer. He moved to the window, peering through the curtain before stepping back, his face grim. It's too late, he said, his voice a dangerous whisper. They're not waiting for dawn. His eyes were the eyes of the ranger. They're here. Selena, the loft now. Take the girls. Far corner, stay down. Do not make a sound. As Selena scrambled to obey, Darius slid a heavy oak chest in front of the door, creating a choke point. He moved to the fireplace, reaching into the chimney flue. He pulled a loose stone free. From the cavity behind it, he withdrew a canvas-wrapped object. He unrolled it to reveal a vintage bolt-action hunting rifle and cartridges. He chambered a round, the click-clack echoing. Outside, two vehicles stopped. Doors opened. Voices carried. They were surrounding the house. Darius took position near the window. He counted 4 men moving with professional ease. Cassian had sent his A-team. Then a voice cut through the night, amplified, calm, and reptilian. Selena Ward. My name is Slate. We know you're in there. Mr. Rourke is a reasonable man. He wants you back unharmed. Send out the janitor, and we can discuss terms. From the loft, Selena whispered, Don't listen. He's lying. Darius didn't move. He simply watched, breathing slowly, waiting. The voice came again. Cole, we know your name. We know about Imani. Don't be a fool. You have 10 seconds before she gets hurt because of you. The threat against his daughter was a mistake. It stripped away the last vestiges of the quiet man and left only the cold core of the ranger. He saw one man break cover, moving toward the propane tank. Darius adjusted his aim, held his breath, exhaled slowly, and squeezed the trigger. The rifle's report was deafening. Outside, sharp ping of metal, shattering glass, hissing air from a tire. The man dove for cover, cursing. The message was delivered. This was a siege, and the man inside was not a janitor. Tense silence followed. Then a new smell reached Darius, sharp, chemical, gasoline. He looked at Selena. Grim realization dawned on both at the same time. Last chance, Cole. Come out, or we burn you out. But Darius didn't deal in despair. His eyes landed on the large bearskin rug. The cellar, he hissed. He kicked the rug aside, revealing a recessed iron ring. He heaved. A square section lifted, revealing a black hole and steep ladder. Go. Take the girls. There's a storm hatch at the far end. Goes up behind the wood pile. Go now. A shattering crash. A glass bottle filled with flame flew through and smashed against the fireplace. Flames erupted, licking up the walls. Heat was immediate. Smoke billowed. The children screamed. Selena grabbed them both. It's okay, babies. We're going down the secret slide. Imani went first. Nova froze. Darius scooped her up and dropped her into Selena's arms. Get her out of here. He dragged the chest over the trapdoor as the cabin became engulfed. The cellar was pitch black. Selena felt her way down. Imani was already there. "Daddy! I'm right behind you." Darius pulled the trapdoor shut from below. Absolute darkness. Darius's flashlight beam cut through. "This way. Stay close." At the far end was a heavy, slanted door. Darius shoved. It gave way, opening to cold night air behind a woodpile. They were out. The night sky glowed with the burning cabin. The men, silhouetted against flames, focused on the front. They had no idea their targets were gone. "We move now," Darius whispered. "Don't look back." "Follow me." They began their desperate trek. Darius carried exhausted Nova. Selena held Imani's hand. They moved in silence, Darius navigating with supernatural instinct. An hour later, they collapsed in a moss-lined ravine. The fire's glow was a distant ember. Selena's body gave out. She began to shake uncontrollably. "We're not going to make it. They'll find us." Darius slid beside her. He wrapped his jacket around her shoulders. He took her hand, his calloused fingers lacing through hers. "Yes, we are," he said, unwavering. "I've been in worse places. We are going to make it. I've got you. I've got all of you." She looked at him, at his exhausted but resolute face in the moonlight. In his eyes, she saw not just a soldier's promise, but a man's vow. Her shaking subsided. She squeezed his hand. "I trust you." They rested briefly before Darius roused Nova. The little girl let out a small, dry cough, then another. Selena pressed her hand to Nova's forehead. It was warm, too warm. The smoke, the cold, the terror, it had been too much. They had escaped the fire and gunmen, but now, alone in the vast wilderness, they faced a new enemy. Nova was getting sick, and their desperate race had become a race against time. Every step was a battle. Nova's coughing grew worse. Darius, carrying the child, moved with relentless momentum. Just when Selena thought she couldn't continue, Darius stopped. Through the trees, a dark shape stood, a small structure with a crooked radio antenna. The old Ranger outpost. Darius forced the swollen door open. The air was stale and freezing, but it was shelter. While Selena settled the girls, Darius worked on the old wood stove. Using his knife, he shaved tinder and, with a spark from his multi-tool, coaxed a flame to life. He turned to Nova. He administered aspirin for the fever and used an inhaler to open her airways. "Smoke inhalation and onset of pneumonia," he said grimly. "I can keep her stable for a few hours, but she needs a hospital." Their only hope was the radio, an ancient military surplus machine. For 20 agonizing minutes, Darius worked on corroded terminals. Then static crackled. He had done it. He handed the microphone to Selena. "Eldon Pierce. No one else." Her voice cut through static. She poured out the story, the attack, the cabin, the fire, their location. She gave Eldon authority to act. "He tried to kill me, Eldon. He tried to kill my daughter, burn it all down, everything he has." Silence. Then her mentor's voice, cold as steel. "With pleasure." After the call, they huddled by the stove. Exhausted, Darius wrapped his arm around Selena, pulling her and the sleeping girls closer. She leaned her head against his shoulder, the hard muscle a comfort in a world gone mad. Help arrived with first light, not Cassian's men, but flashing red and blue lights of state police, led by Eldon Pierce himself. A medical team airlifted Nova to the nearest hospital, Selena beside her. The weeks that followed were a blur of hospitals, legal statements, and news reports. Eldon's attack was surgical. Armed with Selena's testimony and evidence Darius preserved, he exposed Cassian Rourke. The story was a media firestorm. Faced with federal charges, Cassian's empire collapsed. 1 month later, on a bright autumn afternoon, Selena sat on a park bench, watching Nova and Imani chase each other through fallen leaves, their laughter echoing. Nova had fully recovered, and the girls were inseparable. Darius sat beside her, handing her coffee. He looked different without the weight of the world. The hard lines had softened. He just looked like a father watching his daughter play. "I was cleared to go back to work at the tower," he said with a wry smile. "I think I'll pass." Selena laughed genuinely. She had her life back, her company, her power. But the fire had burned something away, a cold ambition. It had been replaced by something warmer, something real. "I'm glad, because I have a proposition for you." Darius raised an eyebrow. "I already told you, Selena. I don't want your money or a job." "I know," she said, her smile soft. She turned to face him, open and vulnerable. "That's not the kind of proposition I had in mind. For years, I've built an empire. I've merged companies, acquired assets. But I've been doing it all wrong." She took his hand, the same calloused hand that had pulled her from the fire, that had held her steady in the dark. "This isn't a business deal, Darius. It's a merger, a full partnership. 2 single-parent households, 2 awesome little girls, and 2 people who found each other in the middle of a nightmare." She took a breath. "Marry me." Darius stared at her, truly shocked for the first time. He looked at her earnest face, then at their 2 daughters, now holding hands, a perfect picture of their new blended family. A slow smile spread across his face. "Selena Ward," he said, his voice full of warmth. "A full partnership is the only deal I'd ever be willing to accept." He squeezed her hand, and together they watched their children play, the sounds of their laughter the only thing that mattered. They had walked through fire. But on the other side, in the most unexpected way, they had finally found their way home. If you're hearing this, it means you stayed to the very end. Thank you. That honestly means the world to me. I really hope you got something out of it. Maybe a new way of looking at things, a moment of peace, or just a good escape from the everyday. If you did, I genuinely love to hear about it in the comments. You see, we're on a mission here to prove that deep, meaningful stories still have a place in this world. When you subscribe, it's like you're telling us, keep going. When you hit that like button, you're giving the story a little push so it can find the next person who might need it. Don't forget those notifications so you know when the next one is ready. From me to you, thank you for being here.